Let's start again. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you for coming to class. I appreciate that. We have some wonderful people here. This, I'd like to introduce Ryan, and his name sign is Ryan, right here on the nose. Why? He has a mole on his nose. And you know how my name sign is here, right? He's a student as well, and he's at the University of Northern Colorado. So, and he is in a sign language interpreting program there. So he has to do a special project for school. So he came here for this. So you owe me wine. That's fine, we can do that. So I would like to introduce, also we have two special guests here this evening. We have another Ryan, a second Ryan here, this student as well. And he is deafblind. And he brought his SSP, and his name sign, his name is Rexy, R-E-X-Y, and his name sign is Rexy. Rexy, that's his name sign. And then we also have another interpreter, and her name is Carol. So, and he is going to be signing with no voice. So, but I do have the interpreter here for you guys, so that's what Carol's gonna be doing tonight. Okay, so it'll be a new experience. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Are you allowing questions at the end? Oh yes, of course, of course. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for coming as well. Okay? Okay, let's back up here. I was very interested in ASL, and I took a class in 6th grade, and since then I've just been fascinated and motivated, and just like all of you, I started in ASL 1, and then I progressed and more and more, and I got more involved in the deaf community, and my skills went up and up and up, and I've just been rolling along. So recently I moved here from the state of Connecticut, and in Connecticut I started DeafBlind SSP. I started getting involved in DeafBlind SSP support service provider. So there I was very fascinated. I thought it looked like fun. Moved here to Seattle, and there were so many deafblind people. I started working as an SSP for what? Here, let's click to the next one there. Support service providers. So I have a list here that I'm going to be discussing to show you what it's all about. What are the responsibilities? What do they do? What's the role like? So, and if you're interested in becoming an SSP, how do you do that? The communication methods that we use. There's different methods that we use. Tactile. Tactile sign language interpreting for deafblind communication. And deafblind empowerment. How deafblind people can make decisions and be independent on their own. Okay, deafblind. Why? Why do a lot of people become deafblind? Because of something called Usher's syndrome. There's 3 types. We have type 1, and that means they're born deaf. We have type 2, that means they're born hard of hearing, not hearing, hard of hearing. And type 3, that means they're born hearing and they have their sight. So you know when you're born, your vision is developing and theirs gets less and less and less, almost like it turns into a box or a pinpoint. So it just goes down and down and down. So there's variations in how this is going to progress. Sometimes people see it as dots. Sometimes people see little boxes that close in. Sometimes it's just pinpoint vision. There are different types of blindness related to Usher syndrome. So understand that Usher syndrome itself, it's genetic, so it's been passed down from generation to generation. So it goes down to different people. So it's very rare that somebody's just born all of a sudden with Usher syndrome. Usher syndrome is genetic and it is passed down. Okay, so now, what is an SSP? What do they do? Let me give you some examples. My experience has been taking people shopping, and I go along with the deafblind client. I go into the store with them, and I will explain what's going on environmentally. Like if there's a huge line, I let them know visually what's going on. You're also visually interpreting and helping them negotiate their way through the store itself. And I'll let them know, yeah, it's going to be our turn soon. Then another thing that we do is helping them read their mail. you know, deafblind people, they get a lot of mail, and you have to help them go through it, and, you know, all the ads that you get in the mail, or maybe they're looking for coupons, or they wanna find ways to save money, things like that. And there's also fun things too. There's also fun things. Maybe you're going food shopping, and there's a lot of information that you wanna relay to people, you wanna give them support. Deafblind empowerment as well at the store. You know, I can go to the store myself and buy it for them and bring it to them and deliver it. There you go, you're done. But no, they understand that the whole point of it is to empower them to go and do it on their own, to accompany them. So fun things, you know, going shoe shopping. I like to do that because I like to explain and show them all the different colors and talk about the different sizes and what their options are. I mean, food shopping, you also want to show them kind of the path of the store so that they go in and you're like, okay, here's this, and here's the apples, here's the bananas. No, you want them to have the full picture and the full understanding of the store. So, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about that later. Over here at DeafBlind, have many, many medical appointments, usually that you need to accompany them to. But you also need to understand too that SSP is not an interpreter. SSP themselves are responsible for what? For visual information. I mean, at the food store, obviously, you know, you're giving them the information about the environment. And you're telling them about the workers at the store. And you're just helping them kind of negotiate and interpret the environment. They're really independent though. So you're just giving them the information that they need. So when they come to a medical appointment, you must have a regular ASL interpreter, because they're gonna hear everything and they're gonna interpret it. I'm not responsible for that information, no. I am the visual support person. Okay, so if you're interested in becoming an SSP, what do? How do you go about that? The very first step, online, I found a program, and you can set up a meeting. You email, you set up a meeting, you speak with the coordinator, you practice, you learn all the different, the pro-tactile, you really need to do that. You really need to learn that. You're going through training, and you're practicing. When all that practicing is finished, you're matched with a client. And how do they match you? Well, first of all, they look at your age. Are you male? Are you female? Where do you live? What's close? Can you pick them up? Do you have a car? You know, how's transportation going to work? All of this is important in making a good match. Communication methods. There are different ways to communicate with your clients. And people that have Usher syndrome, some prefer SIMCOM. This means simultaneous communication. You're speaking and signing at the same time. Haptics, it means you're having physical interactions and you're changing, for DeafBlind, the movement and the motivation, or the movement of the room. Then we have Braille and we have pro-tactile, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. I'm sorry, hold on, go back just a second, I'm sorry. Thank you. Let me go back, and it's important, depending on the kind of Usher syndrome, what they're gonna prefer as far as using speech or whatever they're most comfortable with. Because if they're born deaf-blind, they're gonna prefer tactile. And some people that are born maybe hard of hearing, maybe they can hear a little bit, so they're gonna prefer, they're gonna wanna know the shapes, they're gonna wanna know. I mean, you're gonna have to really give them those descriptions really, really well. But it really depends. It depends on the person themselves, their preferences and their background. Okay, so now something that's really important to know is how we're going to do the approach. We have DeafBlind. And are you just gonna go up and just kind of, hello, and then they're gonna feel around for you, okay, wait, something's wrong, somebody touched me, I'm confused, I don't understand how to do this. So there's different ways that you can walk up to people. A deafblind person, if they're sitting here, you might come up and just tap them on the shoulder gently, and then their hand will find your hand. And your hand will meet, and their hand is essentially their eyes. And so it's really important to have the appropriate approach to a person. The other important thing is to avoid dehumanizing somebody by taking away their empowerment. You know, we want to have this person, if they want to have their coffee, you know, I'm not going to slide it over into their hand for them if they can't find it. You know, it's very simple. It would be simple for me to help guide them to it, but I'm not going to grab their hand and be like, here's your coffee. So you want to gently guide them. It's more like you're guiding them through to find something on their own. But that empowerment is really an important thing, for them to do it on their own. Now some of you get to help. Imagine that we're all becoming SSPs, and we're all involved in this, and we're going into this grocery store, okay? All right, here we go. Okay, so here's the layout. So you guys see how the store's laid out. What do you think is important information that you think would be good for me to let my client know, to help empower them, but to also be there for them? Anybody have any ideas what they think would be an important thing to let somebody know about this grocery store? Okay, the food. What kind of food do they sell in this store? Where's the produce, the fruits, the vegetables? Exactly. You're gonna say this is a produce store. Here's where things are laid out so that they can get the environment in their mind. I mean, what else do you think would be important to tell them? How much? What did you say? I'm sorry.
The price of what things are.
That's right. You might let them know too if there's a sale. That's perfect. That's great information. Let them know if there's a sale on a particular item that they might need. Anything else? The size, if it's big or if it's small, yeah. If there's people in the store, that's correct. If there's other customers. What else? How am I going to let them know this? How am I going to let them know this information about the environment? How am I going to do that in relation to where they are? I mean, the approach is called mapping. Do you know what that means? Essentially, I let them know. They give me their hand. And then I'm kind of drawing it on their hand to let them know, okay, this is the shape of the store. You're going to use your own hands and your own body to also show the concept of this store. So you're going to say, okay, here's where the aisles are. Here's where the aisles are. Maybe you can draw it on their hand. Okay, this is the first aisle, right here. Where my pinky is, that's that first aisle, there. Okay, they've got apples and bananas in this aisle, or, you know, whatever you want to describe in that first aisle. The second aisle is going to be my next finger. And you're going to say, okay, there's grapes over there, and there's tomatoes over there, or, again, that's up to you how you're going to say it. And then you have all kinds of fruits in there. Maybe you have star fruit or exotic fruits are down this next aisle, which would be your middle finger. And so you're going to give them the information of who's also in the store. Okay, there's a man over here, there's a woman over here, so that you're letting them know that's the map to help empower them to know where things are so they can negotiate the store. So it's better than me buying the food and saying, here you go, you're done. No, you can do it on your own. Okay, all right. Okay, so now, this is the fun part. Pro-tactile. This is different than ASL. ASL is a visual language. We're using our eyes. Pro-tactile, that's their tactile, everything's involved, your body, everything. It's not just hearing things. I mean, it's everything. That is their expression. Okay, let's see. His clothes, his plaid. It's got red and black, and I'm using my body, right? I'm using my body because I want to show that. I want to say it goes this way and this way. Use their body. See how he's doing that on his body? That's the perfect way to do it. You're using the client's body so that they know. And some signs look a little bit similar. So like apple and onion, you know, you have that slight movement of the eye or the cheek. So you need to really show with clarity an apple, and then I'll touch their face so that they know apple is down here and onion is up here. And you can see how that's being done up here as well. And same thing with male and female. So that adds more clarity to the language for them. Okay, back channeling. Okay, back channeling. So if I'm chatting here with him and I'm explaining a story, and I look at it, okay, yeah, I can see, okay, I'm using my voice, and, well, they don't get to hear that. They don't get to hear that. I'm just this boring person. So it's really important to change that into tactile. So you're letting them know when you're chatting what's happening. You know, you're giving these clues, these additional clues in addition to what they're saying and what's going on. You're really paying attention to what's happening in the background. Back channeling, back. Okay, that's one thing that, okay. For example, right now, you see how we're sitting side to side. If somebody else should walk behind them, like here I am walking behind them, here I'm walking behind, and see how he's giving that description? It's coming behind your back. He's actually using his back to say somebody is walking behind you. He's physically touching his body to say somebody is walking behind you. So somebody wants coffee, and you're standing at the counter, and there's a man here, and he's ordering, he hands him the coffee. He's got his coffee. Okay, that man smiles, says, thank you, have a great day. I want to put a little smiley face. I want to let you know, this guy is smiling, he's happy. So it's giving more information about the store, the man in the store. He's smiling at you. Okay, so we're going to go to touch ASL. Okay, so cat. The cat went up the tree and is sitting in the tree. Okay, and here's our tree. For him, you know, I'm using both my hands to do both the signs. So I'm going to use his body to help me. His arm, I'm going to use his arm to say the cat went up and sat in the tree. So, and later on you guys will get to this point too, where you can be with another person and you will use their body more, and it really does give you clarity. If you can close your eyes and have somebody do that to you, you will be shocked. Just use that example. It will give you so much clarity with your eyes shut. And let's see here. The size and patterns. You're gonna say, it's this big by this big. Well, that's kind of awkward to be signing that with one hand. How are you going to show the size of a box to somebody that's deafblind? Their arms are going to be flailing back and forth. It's going to be awkward. So the best thing that you can do, again, is to use his body. So when you're talking about size, you're going to say, okay, it's the size of your arm like this, or it's bigger or smaller. And that way he can better feel what the size of things are. Okay, wait, we did maps, we did classifiers. Okay, so now we're going to go to tone. You can feel the tone in ASL. I mean, well, when you're chatting and you're just using your hand, I mean, it's hard to get a tone across. So, but if somebody's grabbing your hand and you're really, wow, that person is pissed off. By the way, that they're touching my hand, I know they're mad. So you using your tone in your hands and in how strong you're signing. Emphasis. Okay, so here we go. The reason why I love Washington State, why? There is a deaf community that is huge. Deafblind, there are so many deafblind in the area. So they have agencies, deafblind area here, and they have DSB, and there's a lot of things now for deafblind in this area. So for all of you as well. If you finish ASL 4 and you're done and you're really involved in the deaf community and your skills have improved, you can seek out some of these services. There's Lighthouse for the blind, deaf-blind services. They don't only service blind, but that's their specialty, Lighthouse for the blind. The last one here is Washington State, deaf-blind citizens. And it's the same thing. I mean, their goal too is to help empower deafblind people. That is the goal, number one goal, period. That's the most important thing. Okay, so I think, are there any questions? Are there any questions? What do you guys think? Do you guys have any questions? Bring it on. Any questions, something that you feel is important that maybe, don't be embarrassed or shy. Any question is a great question. Everything's perfect. So is there something that you think, I mean, don't ever think that any question's a bad question. I'm very, very open-minded and I'm always looking to teach and learn more, so. My experience?
Sorry, I interrupted.
No, I'm learning, so. And don't be worried about offending a deaf-blind person because they're not offended. We're all learning, so you'll never offend somebody. A question is just a question, so never feel it.